A small number of Russian tanks and armored vehicles broke into small groups, attempting to approach the Ukrainian defense lines undetected. However, the constant losses inflicted by FPV drones had made the Russian army's equipment shortages undeniable. Over the past year, large armored convoys had all but disappeared from the battlefield, replaced by scattered mobile units desperately fighting for survival. Some Ukrainian pilots immediately moved, locking onto tank targets eager to drop their prize. The Russian tank driver began circling wildly across the open field, hoping to reduce the chances of a direct hit from the kamikaze drone. But he seemed to have forgotten one crucial detail. The FPV drone was far more agile than any armored vehicle. Its maneuverability only made the operator's job easier. The armor absorbed the first attack, allowing the tank to move closer to the Ukrainian positions. At this point, the Ukrainian pilot could count on artillery support. A shell landed very close, scattering shrapnel across the tank's hull. The damage was minimal. The tank continued moving. Another pinpoint drone strike followed. However, the vehicle held its ground. This was no ordinary target. It was a monster with incredibly thick armor. The fourth attack finally produced visible results, partially tearing through the tank's anti-drone protection. Despite the combined damage from drones and artillery, the tank continued to operate. Only at the last moment did the crew's resolve crumble. They tried to flee. The Russian vehicle must be commended. Its extra armor allowed the tank to hold out far longer than expected. It took 6 explosions to finally disable it, and only the 7th attack delivered the final blow, destroying the tank completely. The hunt proved far more difficult than usual, but the results were worth it. And this attack wasn't carried out by a single tank. However, its allies proved far less resilient. After several well-placed hits, the remaining Russian armored vehicles turned and retreated without deploying their infantry. None of the vehicles reached the tree line where they had initially advanced. As soon as they entered open terrain, they were met by a swarm of Ukrainian drones. In an instant, the armored convoy was reduced to a mess of twisted, burning metal. This time, even additional armor failed to change the outcome. A significant amount of Russian equipment was destroyed before reaching the Ukrainian defensive positions. After the failed attack, a group of Russian soldiers attempted to evacuate the attack zone. Almost immediately, they came under intense Ukrainian artillery fire. Although most targets in this battle were eliminated by drones, artillery once again proved its relevance on the modern battlefield. With aerial reconnaissance and skillful coordination, artillery remains deadly, though far more demanding in terms of navigation and mobility. While artillery inflicts damage and spreads panic among enemy troops, drone operators are able to eliminate those fortunate enough to avoid a direct hit. Despite countermeasures for over 2 years, drones remain the primary weapon for destroying vehicles on both sides of the conflict, and it seems unlikely that other systems will challenge their dominance anytime soon. Mobility, speed, and destructive power define this battlefield. Thanks to the courage and professionalism of the Ukrainian drone pilots, combined with precise artillery coordination, this attack was repelled without casualties or loss of positions. Despite the lethality of FPV drones, some remarkable moments have been recorded where soldiers from both Ukraine and Russia miraculously survived their attacks. In one incident, Ukrainian soldiers set up a special ambush to hunt for FPV drones. Armed with a rifle, a soldier began shooting down the drones one by one. But hitting a drone flying directly at you is much more difficult. Incredibly, a Ukrainian soldier managed to destroy a kamikaze drone at the last second. The shot damaged the drone mid-flight, causing it to veer off course and fail to explode. Another remarkable incident was captured on body cameras worn by fighters from the Kalinowski Regiment, a unit fighting on the Ukrainian side, composed largely of volunteers fighting for an independent Belarus. A Russian fiber-optic drone struck their Humvee with pinpoint accuracy, setting it ablaze. As the Humvee continued to move, the soldiers jumped from the burning vehicle, desperately trying to extinguish the flames on their uniforms. Some were injured, but miraculously the entire crew survived. The vehicle's armor performed remarkably well against direct hits. Footage captured by Russian troops shows an attempt to destroy a Ukrainian FPV drone pursuing their group. The Ukrainian pilot missed the soldiers themselves, but still managed to destroy one of their four-wheeled motorcycles. The Russian soldiers spotted the drone in time and fired until the last second, but failed to hit it even once. Other drivers were not so lucky. He was transporting drones for his unit, which immediately made him a priority target. His vehicle was hit. He survived, but suffered severe burns and several injuries. Both the vehicle and the drone were destroyed. Survival in such conditions, so close to Ukrainian positions, remained highly uncertain. In difficult terrain, motorcycles offered several advantages. They were fast and highly maneuverable. But without armor protection, survival after an explosion was rare. Most of the time, motorcyclists were easy prey. FPV drones can exceed speeds of 150 kilometers per hour and face no road restrictions. Speed alone does not guarantee survival. The Russian command continued to show little regard for its personnel, sending them to almost certain death. Instead of the large armored column seen in 2022, the battlefield was now littered with small, isolated groups of riders. In one case, Russian forces mounted part of a BMP-1 turret to a Soviet-era civilian car. One failed attack stands out. Filmed by a Russian soldier, a small column of airborne troops attempted to break through Ukrainian defenses under thick fog. They moved between abandoned houses and rows of burned-out vehicles from the previous attack. A Ukrainian drone spotted them just in time and transmitted coordinates to the defending forces. As soon as they left the road, trouble began. Recent rains had turned the fields into mud traps. Heavy vehicles immediately became stuck. A traffic jam formed, ironically, right where the destroyed vehicles from the previous attempt had been. The lead vehicle lost a wheel while maneuvering around the debris. Stalled, the convoy became an easy target. Ukrainian artillery opened fire. Initially, no direct hits were hit, but morale, already fragile, collapsed completely. They retreated along the same road they had come. Their command would not have been pleased to learn that an armored vehicle had been lost, without firing a single shot. Civilian vehicles were often pressed into military service. Faster and more agile than armored vehicles, they still offered little protection. A single bullet or kamikaze drone is usually enough to destroy them. The Russian army understands this all too well, which is why doors are often removed to allow for a quick escape. Those who manage to evacuate reach the nearest ruins hoping to hide. In modern warfare, hiding is nearly impossible. Once detected, fixed shelters are even easier to destroy than moving vehicles.